Hey everyone, welcome. It's Cerise here from CeriseFairfax.com. Give me 1 second. What I'm going to do is open up a question and answer line over here on the side. Okay, so it's opening up, and I'm opening it up so you all can send me your questions as we are on air. Okay, so today, as we're waiting for you guys to send your questions in, today what we're going to talk about in the Dream Workshop is a few things. Now, the number one thing on my list is one of the things that many people ask me about. And that one thing is sex dreams. Yes, sex dreams. We all have them. And what they represent are very different things than what some of you may think. Okay, so sex dreams represent, you would think in waking life, when you have a thought about sex, it would mean something amorous. Maybe there's someone who you're interested in and you are thinking that, you want to get closer to them, right? Well, that's passion, right? Okay, so let's look at it in the sleeping world. In the sleeping world, what it represents is passion, but more like anger, being upset with someone. So if you have a dream of having sex with, let's say, your sister's husband, or let's say your brother's wife, okay, let's take it there if you're a guy, because I'm not only assuming that girls are watching. So, and it's something that you would never do. You're like, oh my gosh, you wake up in the morning and you're like, ooh, I just had a dream that I had sex with my brother's wife or my sister's husband. And it's a very unsettling thought, because even if the person is attractive, you might not be the type of person that will go for your siblings' mate, right? So what you have to watch out after you have that type of dream, what you have to watch out for is an argument. So you may have an argument with your sibling may upset you, or you may upset your sibling, or your sibling's wife or husband may do something that will upset you. They may even do something to your sibling that you don't like. I'll give you an example. I have a client who had a dream that she had sex with her sister's husband. Now, the man was attractive, is attractive, and she was not attracted to him. However, she actually liked the guy. She didn't even have an issue with him. So one day she was at their place and they were having a barbecue, and he spoke out of line to her sister, and she didn't like it. She went up to him and gave him a piece of her mind and told him, don't you ever speak to my sister that way in front of people, especially like at a barbecue where there's guests. So that was her dream that came out. Now, it's very significant when you have sex dreams how they come. Like, for instance, you might have a dream that you only kissed the person. So if you only kissed the person, then that means that the conflict may be very superficial. It won't be a conflict that will cause some kind of a rift between you and the other person. If it is like full out blown sex where you are like, really enjoying the moment, then you have to be careful when you wake up in the morning. It's a warning to you that, number one, you're going to have to hold your temper around ignorant people, or hold your temper, your tongue, even your tongue. Don't say anything sarcastic, otherwise it may cause a conflict. And of course it does depend on who you're having sex with. So even if it's not your sibling's mate, it could be your co-worker, it could be anyone at all. Just keep in mind that when you have that sex dream, it signifies that you will be having some type of a conflict. Hold on 1 second. Let me see. It says this feature is disabled for, for questions. So give me 1 second, because your questions are very important. Let me just look on the side here. It says you can only turn this feature on and off on Google Event Plus for this Hangout on air before the broadcast. Ouch. So I had to do it before the broadcast. that kind of really does not feel good. But you know what you can do, please, as I'm online, email me your questions. There we go. Good solution there, eh? So email me your questions at cerisefairfax@gmail.com, and they'll come up as here, and yeah, we'll take it from there. In the meantime, this is a half an hour program, and I'm going to just look at my next topic. Okay, my next topic is I had a dream that my car broke down and couldn't get it started again. Okay, that's a very significant dream. Last week we talked about houses in a dream, and the house represents the body, and it represents the different parts of the body. So for instance, the bedroom represents the heart, the living room represents the arms, the legs, the extension of who you are, and the kitchen represents the head because so much goes on in the kitchen, and then the bathroom represents the middle part of your body, your organs and stuff of that nature. So again, as these dream classes go on more and more, we will get more into detail. So I would, for instance, have a whole seminar just on dreams about a home. And that's it. We'll just talk about the home and what it signifies. But getting back to the car now, what a car represents is your life in general. So the car represents your vehicle of life. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine had a dream before about she was driving down the street, very familiar streets to her from when she was a child. So she's driving down the street, and all of a sudden her car stalled, and she got out, and she remembers it was nighttime. Now we're going to talk more about night and day dreams the more we get on to more sessions, but it was nighttime for her, and when she got out of the car, she realized that there was no help around for her, and her car was stalled, and she was panicking. And then she noticed that there was also a flat tire. Now, how that is predicted is that her life, because the car is a vehicle and it represents her life at that moment. And it's also very important whether you are in the driver's seat or in the passenger seat when you dream about a car. Whoever the driver is the one that's going to experience this symbolic dream and waking life. Okay, so now back to the dream about my friend. And so being in the vehicle, what happened with the flat tire and also stalling, in real life what happened to her was her job got canceled, and it was very difficult for her to find a new one, and then when she tried to get EI, she wasn't able to get it right away, and that was like the flat tire. So she felt so deflated. She felt like her life just was stalled and stopped, and she had no control over it, and she was looking around. There was no help. No one could help her, and she was so distraught, and it was nighttime. Nighttime represents almost like a darkness around you, like a challenge, a confusion of some kind. And so she did get out of it very well, but it was just a hint to signify to her that she needs to go on with life, and you know, even though the car is stalled, all you do is you pump up that wheel again, or you replace it, and you fix the vehicle. So let's say that the vehicle goes out of control and smashes, or that you lose control of the vehicle as you're driving. That also is, it represents that you're going to have to make a certain decision, a split-second decision, and you know, if you do crash, it just means something in your life that you were expecting to unfold will not unfold. And it could be anything. I will give you an example. I had a client that was pregnant, and she was trying to make a decision whether she was going to keep the child or not, because she was late in her 40s, and she was afraid. She was afraid for her health, and she was afraid for the child, and she didn't have, she wasn't married to the man or in a committed relationship with the father. So she had a dream that she was driving in her car, and she couldn't control it. She kept going over bumps and speed bumps, and the car was going faster and faster, and then finally she was trying to park it, and she banged into another vehicle, and it just went all out of control, and she didn't know what to do. So when she woke up in the morning, she analyzed her dream, and you know, she called me up and we talked about it, and she said to me basically, I asked her, is there anything going on in your life right now that you need to make a decision on? Something that is just driving you crazy, driving you out of control. Get it? The car going out of control. And something that you feel that you have to make a decision on, and if you don't, it will change your life completely. And she said yes, that she's pregnant and she doesn't know what to do. And so, of course, she weighed the pros and the cons and she made her decision. But that dream alone was just telling her, signifying to her that she needs to make that decision now. Otherwise, her life will become out of control. And so, there's different dreams of that nature. Cars are very significant. If you are driving with someone in a dream and you are in the back seat, then you are going to bear witness to something that's going to happen in their life. If you are in the passenger seat, then that means you're going to help them in their life when they are experiencing their challenge in life. Okay, we're going to go on to the next point. And let me just pull it up in my notes. The next one. I am being chased by somebody in my dreams. Another significant one that I hear often. People are being chased by men and by women in their dreams, and sometimes they're trying to run, and they can't get anywhere. They're trying to scream, and they can't scream out. Nothing is coming out, and they feel like, no one is hearing them, no one's around. And when someone is chasing you in your dream, that represents an issue. Like sometimes, and most times, it's an addiction. It is usually any kind of a drug addiction, cigarettes, alcohol, gambling, sex, anything, eating, anything that someone is doing too much of. Even watching movies on Rogers. I have a friend of a friend, like brother, who spends like over $300 a month watching videos on Rogers, and that's all fine and dandy if you have the money to spend, but he doesn't. And so, just back to the whole dream thing, so if he had a dream about someone chasing him, that would be a civilization to him that, hey, you know what, you need to get yourself in order because your demons are chasing you, your addictions are after you, and you can't be running from this. You have to be standing still and fighting them. And so I also heard one time from a client of mine, his friend was being chased by an overweight woman, and the overweight woman was him gambling. And the overweight woman was constantly sitting on him and, sitting on his wallet and trying to take his wallet and everything. And so I asked my client, what does this guy do? Does he gamble? Does he do anything of that nature? And he said, yeah, he gambles. And I said, okay, because it sounds like someone is chasing his money. And so when you really break it down, when it comes to dreams, sometimes people get confused because they have dreams of the past, they have dreams of the present, and they really think that, when they're dreaming, it just has to do with what they experienced the day before. But that's not always true, because dreams are actually the spirit. The spirit, it's the mind, and what the dream does is it opens us up. And we go into the world, into the past, the present, and we visit the future. So in our dreams, we are preparing things. We're finding things from the past. We're getting the stuff from the present, and we're carrying it into the future. And that's a lot of times someone will say, as they're walking down the street, they'll say, I had a dream about someone, and then they'll see them. That's like a quick transfer of a plan. Now, of course, our dreams are not the only things, are not what predicts our future. Of course, there's a lot that is pre-written before we come. And a lot of our journey and our destiny is pre-written before we come. But what dreams are just pretty much us gathering the information and putting it into play, planning it and getting everything together. One time my daughter woke up in the morning, and this really fascinated me. My daughter's 24 years old right now, Nalisha, God bless her. And when she was younger, and she woke up one morning, And I would say she was maybe just when she first started talking, okay? And she said to me, Mommy, she was crying, and she said, Mommy, I had a dream. And I know the dream wasn't all that happy for her because she was complaining about it. She looked sad. And of course, her language wasn't all that great because she just started talking. But what fascinated me was how in the world did she know the word dream? I I never taught it to her. I was a single mom and I was with her most of her life, and like when she was a young girl especially, and I never really would even know how to approach that topic with a child. How do you say to a child, "Did you have a good dream?" The child might say back, "What is a dream?" And how would you explain the dream? Oh, when you're sleeping, it's your other world. And how do you explain a dream? And so for that child to come right out and talk to me about a dream made me realize that there's something more fascinating behind dreams than what we realize. And what we have to do every single time we have a dream, like I said in the last workshop, write your dreams down. It is so important to write down everything you remember, the color, the smell, the weather, whether it was dark out, light out, if you remember a time, a person, their face, if you don't know their name and they had like a scruffy beard, or maybe the woman was wearing all white, something of that nature, write every single detail down. Last week we had someone who asked a question and said, should we speak about our dreams in the present tense when we're writing down our dreams? And that was an awesome question to ask. And for some people, it is a great tool to use. So for instance, when you wake up in the morning, if you're someone and you find that you are forgetting your dreams, you don't wake up and say, as you're writing, oh, I had a dream about this, and then this happened, and then that happened. Instead, what you do is you say, I had a dream, or no, I am in the dream, and I'm walking, and I'm seeing beautiful colors. I'm seeing this color, that color. So you speak about it in the present tense as opposed to the past tense, and that helps you to trigger your dream memory as soon as you wake up. Another thing that you can do if you find that you are not remembering at all, not even one detail, and you think you are not dreaming, drink some more water before you go to sleep. Now, what the water will do, obviously, it will make you wake up at some time during the night, and you'll have to use the washroom. When you do, you will be half sleeping, and you will remember your dreams, at least some of it, and then you just write it down right away. Put with a pen and a pad beside your bed, you just write it down, and that's it. Or if you are a person that's better with your phone, then put it in your phone. Or what I have done on occasions is just take my phone and the recorder on my phone, all I do is just record my dream. And I would suggest that you guys do that as well. And then later on, when you have some time, listen to your dream and then write it out. Always have a dream book as well. Okay, I'm going to check my email for some questions. Hold on one second. All right, there's 2 emails here. Okay, it says, hi Cerise, I just want to ask you about, dreaming about dead people. Very good question. Dreaming about dead people. Okay, so when you have a dream about a dead person, most times they do not speak in their dreams. In your dreams, usually they'll be quiet and they'll watch you and they'll like sit back, and it really depends on who the person is as well. If you dream about a family member and you don't dream about them often, then they're coming to you to let you know that they're still there, and that they will continue to be there, and that they love you. And when it comes to dead people in general, really what is dead is the flesh. The flesh is dead, but the energy still exists. The energy goes back to God, and it's still part of God, the source, the universe. It doesn't die. And so if it is like, let's say for instance, your mother that has passed on. And your mother, you are the seed of your mother. So as long as your mother has seed still on this earth, it's still her flesh, her cells. You are still part of her. She's still going to be around you and within you. And so, you know, a lot of the times when you dream about your mother and stuff of that nature, an element should be around it. When you dream about anyone in general who has passed on, an element should be around it. An element as water, fire, air, and earth. Those are the 4 elements, and we spoke about them in the last dream workshop and what they represented. Fire represents action and new things that are happening. Water represents emotions. And then we have earth, which represents security and stability. And then we have air, which represents new ideas and thinking differently and representing yourself, like being very independent and stuff of that nature. But it also represents a high spiritual meaning too. Now, when you dream, if you dream about a person dying, period, and that person is still alive, and you see them in a coffin, but they're not dead in real life, and you see them in a coffin, that just means that something about them is going to be transformed. Something about them will change. So if it's a person who is usually single all their life, hold on one second, I'm going to drink something here. Iced tea with lemon and ice, homemade. I'll put the recipe on YouTube one day. Okay, and so let's say you have a dream about this person and they're in a coffin, and then you turn around and you're like, why did I have this dream? And you're upset. You think maybe they're going to die. No, something in their life will be transformed. The man or the woman who they were before, they will no longer be. It could be that they're just going through some kind of a metamorphosis in life. It could be that they're going to gain enlightenment. It could be that they're going to have a child, like they were single all their life and now they're going to meet someone, and no one would ever expect this person to get married and have children, and all of a sudden they do. You know, so those are the types of things when you have dreams about someone in a coffin. It just means their life is going to change. Now, a gun in a dream, or any kind of a shot, or anybody getting killed in a dream, anything of that nature also represents complete change. It doesn't necessarily represent death. Okay? The color black on people in a dream does represent death. So if you see someone, and it doesn't matter what age they are, if you see them wearing black, then most likely that's death around them, or some serious illness, and it will be the person who is wearing black that will have that serious illness or that death. Okay, and I don't even, like when I say serious illness, I do want to stress that the serious illness will turn to death. So any black around them will represent death. The light is coming in here from both sides, from here and here, and so next time I'll get better lighting. Let me look. I think I got some other message now through Google. Okay. And this question says, hi, Cerise. I just wanted to know, what does it mean when you dream about babies being born from an animal? Okay. Well, babies being born, there we go. Babies being born from an animal, so an animal having babies in a dream, or just an animal in general with a lot of babies around it in a dream, is going to represent for you in your life that you're going to have something that you're going to have to get through. Like it doesn't represent birth necessarily, which it could represent birth if it's rabbits. But if it's just like a regular animal having babies, like a cat, for instance, in your house running around with kittens, it means that you're going to have to deal with something that's a little bit hectic for a little while, but it's not going to last for long. When you look at little babies, little puppies and little cats, or even raccoons, it doesn't matter what you have a dream of, no matter what the animal is. It doesn't even have to be domestic. But no matter what, most times it will be in your house. If it is in your house, that's when it represents an issue, like something that will be hectic for a little while. But again, when you look at animals, they usually grow up within 7 weeks. So the problem that will come, the issue that will come around, the challenge that you will be presented with will most likely last for a good 2 months. And it'll be a little hectic. And it doesn't mean it's going to be crazy hectic. It also depends on your personality in the dream. If you're running around and you're afraid of all the little animals and you're scared and everything of that nature, most likely the challenge will be upsetting and it'll be difficult for you to get through it. But if you're just looking at them and you're watching them run and play and everything, most likely it'll be hectic and it won't bother you that much for the 2 months. So for some, I'll give you an example. I had a client one time who had a dream of kittens being around her place, and she just kind of sat and watched them play. And so she went for her blood tests the next day and everything, and she got back 3 days after that, she got back results saying that there was something wrong with her thyroid and everything of that nature. And it was hectic for a while because she had to get her thyroid into gear and all this stuff. They found some, different things on her wrong with her, and she was gaining a lot of weight. And then they put her on medication, and she started to lose a massive amount of weight, and she had to go through that little hectic period for about a good 2 months. And she got through it, and she decided to just become a vegan and eat raw food. Only raw food, and go off the medication, and she was fine. And she still is very strong and no thyroid problems today. So when you have a dream of any kind of babies like that, that usually means, again, an issue in your life you'll have to deal with. Last week, I said that when someone has a baby, they will dream of fire first. Since we're talking about babies, I want to bring this up because I did get an email, a question, and a woman asked me, she said what she heard in the past was when women have babies, they will dream about fish. And yes, that is so true. They will dream about goldfish, and if the goldfish die or anything of that nature, that represents a miscarriage. If someone goes in and plucks out the fish from like a fish tank of something like that, it usually represents an abortion. So definitely it does. But that is a woman who is aware that she is, pregnant, or she did something to she didn't protect herself if she was, having sex or anything of that nature. So when I spoke about the fires, that is a woman who has absolutely no clue that she's pregnant, and she just thought it was completely safe, like maybe the condom leaked, or maybe her pill didn't work, her diaphragm didn't work, or something of that nature. There was no reason for her to get pregnant at all, and it's a surprise, like I said last week, not a mistake, more of a miracle. And so she will dream about fire, and that because it's going to be such a surprise, and a fire also represents something brand new. So let me look at the time, because this is supposed to be a half an hour. Yep, we have 2 more minutes left, and I'm going to answer one more question over here. Let me just go to my email. By the way, thank you guys for being patient and for understanding that I have to answer the questions through the email like this. Okay, so here's a question. Cerise, last week you mentioned that water in a dream means emotions. Can you tell me what it means when there is water showering over my child? Okay, well, that's a very interesting question as well. Dreams are so fascinating, aren't they? Let me get back to the screen here. Dreams are so fascinating. So what I would like to get deeper in conversation with is, was the child crying in the dream? Was the child afraid? Was the rain really hard? And also, of course, was the rain outside? Was the shower outside? Was it inside of a house? Or was the shower in a completely different, strange room? Because we all know in dreams that it could be possible that all of a sudden the shower is inside the living room. And what does that mean, right? And it does have a very significant meaning. But just in general, the water does represent emotions. And water being washed over a baby, if we're just picturing a general shower and, just assuming that it is in the proper place in the washroom, it means blessings for a child, showered with blessings, just like how the word is. And it means love for the child. The child is loved. The child feels loved. And the baby feels like it is in a good home and it's comfortable. So it says great things about the family environment and the upbringing that the child is having, and that the child feels blessed. So yes, everyone, thank you very much for joining me. I do want to apologize about the people who I wasn't able to get to, because if I did have that question and answer thing on the side, I would have been able to zoom through all the questions nicely. However, I'm still learning about this whole, online Google application, and it's my second show so far. So thank you for joining in. And next week, I'll make sure that I put those questions up. But however, I want you as well, I encourage you guys as well to send me your dreams, and I can read them as I'm on air here, okay? All right, everyone, remember as well, I do have a website, cerisefairfax.com, where you can get some literature that I wrote and some uplifting CDs. Right now I'm doing them 2 for 1, so let me know what you would like and I can send that order out to you. Thank you very much for joining. God bless you guys. You're all beautiful. You're all dreamers. And make sure you keep a note of all your dreams. Bye-bye. Have a great afternoon. Great evening. Bye-bye.